We're just talking about some of our technical difficulties. I hope that we can hear each other. The Today we've got a special meeting on March 11th, 2022. I'd like to call this meeting to order. It was requested, and that's why we're here today. I only have the two agenda items, but before that, I'd like to go in and ask Councilman Redcorn if he could give us a prayer today. We have families really have had their losses. We know there's some more, and I know that we lost a child of one of our families here in Zanzoli. Brother, we need some prayers this morning, and if you could you pray for us at this time?
Oi.
Okay.
Ai tatsi. Ai tatsi wakanda yijinke. Ele kon se hakisto maja se kanekshere. Kisto maja nikashere. Sile ita edon pahade. Lak edi kombra, lak edi lahade oskan lagnida lagniaks. Ankonda gatkai. Azanzole Ashim Shinche de Tedexi Sileite de Wahenixche de Nanse Wahe de Sileite de Dake de Combra Nexche de Avalaxius e Anconda Kai Awahenixche de Liluse Anconda. De conse a de kistomai sa pedon peixche de sileite don pa de che de la che de combranche manjan de se de anki conda de hakiste danse de mahe mashite che de only de se kadon mah kare se de wajaya na randa ku conda gat kai de ska hean kondan gat kai. Kisto mai de watanka ikshe de zanzoli ne kade wala da ikshe de iloshka imansea de la bria ha de ikshe de pasole ikshe majanze da lin ikshe de watse kondan gat kai ankali apata ha da bria ha da wala ikshe Spasoli, Zanzoli, Shada, Wahakoli, da Bria, da Waglanx, Wayana, Comra, Gatkai, Gashea, Nakakakepsha, Comra. It's all these things we ask in your name. Amen.
Thank you, sir. With that, I'd like to have a roll call, please.
Councilwoman Foreman,
Present.
Councilwoman Gray,
Here.
Councilwoman Harlan,
Here.
Councilman Redcorn,
Here.
Second Chair Red Eagle,
Here.
Councilman Rehard,
Present.
Chairman Waller.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Yes, thank you, Council. With that, under our business items, we've been asked to talk today about streamlining our national energy permitting process. Councilman Rivard, the floor is yours, sir.
Okay, a few days ago when the price of oil rose to $130, I was thinking, I woke up early that morning. It fell pretty quickly back down to 126, but nevertheless, it was significant, and it was largely due to the recent invasion of Russia into Ukraine and the fear that maybe the Russian oil might be taken off the market. But regardless of the cause, it is up there, extremely high. The country is in need for more oil. We're becoming so dependent on foreign oil that I felt like the United States government might be wanting the producers to do what they can on their own without regulations to maybe increase their production if they're capable of doing it. For national security, and I thought to myself, what could we possibly do? You know, I know years ago, way before my time, that the mineral estate, had reserved the Naval Reserve oil field for the federal government, which I thought was a commendable thing to cooperate and do. And whether they had a choice or not, I don't know the details, but nevertheless, the federal government did, depend on us to some degree, and we stepped up and were able to assist the federal government in this regard by providing a source for the much needed oil during that time period. Well, here we are again at another time period beyond our control, and to a certain degree anyway. And I was wondering what we might could do to beef up some production. And I thought to myself, well, what is a holdup as far as doing something quickly? And that's what made me think of permitting. If we could get the federal government, the Department of Interior, to give us some type of a categorical exclusion or a waiver or a temporary self-reporting type of arrangement, that maybe some of our producers have some property that they go out and work on relatively quickly if they could get permits approved quickly. So I was just thinking that maybe we should ask the federal government to consider giving us either a waiver of our permitting process or to expedite it in some manner, and not go through some of the delays in the permitting. And one thing that first comes to mind is that 30-day period for appeal. Once Mr. Kohler over at the Bureau of Indian Affairs Osage Agency, their petroleum engineer, reviews a permit and he deems it to be appropriate and the procedures being requested to be performed were satisfactory to the BIA, well then at that point our permits go out, copies of them go out to all interested parties, and that includes the surface owner. And this appeal process for this period of 30 days allows all the interested parties an opportunity to object, basically, to that permit. I've never agreed with that, but anyway, that's a 30-day period that is hardly seldom ever acted upon. And if they would just get rid of that, that would be helpful. But I would like to have us consider approving our lawyer and our chairman to ask the federal government for some relief in the way of permitting. And the exact details of that, I have some ideas, but I just think that we should make the request. If nothing else, even if they say, no, we can't help you, or this is going to get resolved before we can even make it happen, I think by us taking action to at least request this, it brings attention to our plight, or at least this one area of our hurdles that we have, brings attention to us that we, as a tribal entity with resources, are being harmed because of this permitting process. It brings attention to us, which I think would be helpful in the long run. So with that, that's all I have from introduction. Thank you.
My hand is up.
Lacey, call on the hands, please.
Councilmember
My
Foreman.
hand is up. Did you call me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I will be making a motion, but I wanted to just add to Councilmember Rivard's introduction. And I did post a couple of articles that came out very recently. Things are happening very fast. The U.S. Secretary of the Department of Energy spoke this week at a huge energy conference in Houston and implored the energy industry to immediately increase production. And I have provided you an article about that and highlighted some of the really kind of urgent things she said. She said, we are on a war footing, an emergency, and we have to responsibly increase short-term supply, or we can right now stabilize the market and minimize harm to American markets. She said this is a crisis. This crisis could be used as a moment to forge meaningful partnerships with the industry to address not only the immediate need for more production, but for long-term need. She said she's here to extend a hand of partnership. Uh, and she presented this crisis as an opportunity to address supply chain and permitting issues here in the United States. And of course, we all know that President Biden banned um, Russian oil imports, which represents, from what I hear on the news, 8 to 10% of the supply we use here in the United States. So that said, and I think Biden has also come out, I heard some blurb that he's asking for increased production. So that said, I'd like to make a motion, and I'm just going to read it into the record, and I'll provide the wording to Lacey here in an email here in a minute. But I make a motion that reads, the Osage Minerals Council was elected to carry out the business of the Osage Mineral Estate, and in that regard believes it to be in the best interest of said estate and headright holders to continuously act to increase oil and gas production. The Osage Minerals Council hereby approves Patterson, Earnhardt, Reelbird, and Wilson to take action to seek streamlined federal permitting of oil and gas resources in the Osage Mineral Estate in response to the energy crisis caused by the Russia invasion of Ukraine and its impact on energy markets. That's my motion.
Council, I need a second.
I'll second the motion.
I have a second. We need discussion. Lacey, call on the hands.
Councilmember Gray. You're muted. Council.
And I'm not hearing anything.
The
Councilmember
microphone
Gray.
looks like it's muted.
Yeah, you're muted. Nobody else's hands are up.
May I say something then?
I'm on. I'm sorry.
No.
Okay. Thank you all. I think we're all in the same like-minded. But before we start, this is just my opinion, and it would be nice that we go around and listen to everyone's opinion about maybe what we should do before we throw out some motions. And the motion is a decent one, no problem there. But I think that we need to look more strategically on how we do this. If we just put all of our eggs in one basket and shot at this, then I don't want to lose this really pivotal point to get the attention of the federal government on all of the issues um, that we need addressed here at Osage. So, and I also um, I believe that we have two good law firms that are up in DC. If we can get both of them in that resolution to do specifically two different things, we have one that works good with Department of Energy and does some other lobbying stuff. But we also have another attorney that has the ability to get into the very front door over at the Department of Interior, the Secretary Holland's office, and Brian Newland. We also, so I think the strategy, what I'm thinking about is, um, let's attack from all sides here. Let's just not do one firm and do this. Let's also, it's a way that we can collectively fight this and stand together. It's time for us to all put our hands in and start stacking them on top of one another and say, hey, let's use all the arrows we have in our quiver that we can apply to this, because we have certain law firms and connections that we all have in order to get what we need done. I am all about for us getting removing some of these barriers. And if there was ever a time, God has blessed us with this time that we can get access to our well records, expedite the permitting process, remove some of these barriers. But let's just be strategic about it. And I will be in favor of this, but mine is that let's use both firms to get this done, and I could be really agreeable and get 100% behind that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Councilmember Redcorn.
Thank you, Lacey and Chairman. As presented, I think it's a good plan for what I heard in the motion. And then I heard some kind of a little bit of chatter. Why are we doing this so quickly? Why an emergency meeting? I don't think there's a definition of emergency meeting to meet this request, because it is that big of an issue out there that we have been hammered big time, oil and gas worldwide. And I'm not quite comfortable with how we've been handling, I guess as a nation, the United States of America, and how we're handling the response. And they're still debating on the national level on what to do. My feeling is I gotta look out for the Osage headright holders. And we've got lessees sitting on their hands because of paperwork. We need to get busy. I've been a little disappointed on our performance in that regard. I think we've done better looking for other forms of development across the whole council. But with leasing, we gotta get active, we gotta get very aggressive, because our headright payment should be a lot higher than it is right now. And so I think we need, we need more lessees moving out there. So I think this is a good plan. If there's another plan out there that somebody thinks we ought to include, put it together, we can hear about it later. But right now, I'm in full support of this motion, and I ask the chairman to call for the question.
Lacey, ma'am?
Councilmember Foreman just took her.
Well, I was going to do the same thing. I'm not going to change the wording. I call for the question as well, to vote for the motion as read into the record.
May I have one comment before we vote? And I'll be supportive of this. Council, on the effort of the Maritime Naval Reserve, we need to look at that because the Osage Nation declared war on Japan. They have some caveats there I'd like to review on what did the federal government say to the council at that time. It's not outdated. It's the same federal government. I do feel like the other concerns is an emergency declaration. Whatever the possibilities are, I'm going to be asking the attorneys to look into that matter as a directive that I think is fitting. And with that, call for the question.
Councilmember
Mr.
Foreman.
Chairman, this is Councilwoman Harlan. I don't know how to
Yes,
raise
ma'am.
my hand because I'm on the phone driving down the highway.
Councilwoman.
I'll have a motion after this, and I just want to be recognized after the vote.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Foreman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gray.
Yes.
Councilwoman Harlan.
Yes.
Councilman Redcorn.
Yes.
Second Chair Red Eagle.
Yes.
Councilman Revard.
Yes.
Chairman Waller.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Councilwoman Harlan.
Yes, sir. I'd like to make a motion that the council authorize the chairman to take all measures available to him to work with department, that is the superintendent at the agency locally, to expedite production and approval of production. And that would be my motion.
Second.
Second. I have a motion on the floor by Councilwoman Harlan, seconded by Councilwoman Gray. Hands, please, Lacey.
Councilmember Foreman. You're muted.
Could you please repeat the motion? I didn't, she cut out on part of it, so I didn't hear the whole thing.
I didn't hear it either.
To authorize chairman to take all means available to him to expedite production and approval of production.
Superintendent.
Can't understand. I can't understand what you're saying.
The superintendent and everyone available.
I can't understand what you're with that.
I could hear Bobby pretty good, except that where that part that she cut out, if she would read it again.
Authorize chairman to take all means available to him to expedite production and approval of production to the superintendent and others as he sees fit.
Hands, Lacey.
My hand's still up.
Councilmember Foreman's hand is still up.
Yes, ma'am, Councilwoman.
Yeah, I don't see the necessity to authorize the chairman to take any and all action without bringing it to the council. So I can't really support this spur of the moment motion without giving it full consideration. And we don't have time to do that now. So I just want it to be known that I can't support this motion.
Thank you. Hands, Lacey.
Nobody's hand is up.
Call for the question.
Councilwoman Gray.
Yes.
Councilwoman Harlan.
Yes.
Councilman Redcorn.
No.
Second Chair Red Eagle.
No.
Councilman Revard.
No.
Chairman Waller.
Abstain.
Councilwoman Foreman.
No.
Motion fails.
Chairman,
Thank you, Council.
Chairman,
I'm going to need a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
second.
Second. Lacey, call out who made the motion.
Second Chair Red Eagle made the motion, seconded by Councilman Redcorn.
All right, thank you. Any your hands?
No, sir.
Call for the question, please.
Councilwoman Harlan.
Yes.
Councilman Redcorn.
Yes.
Second Chair Red Eagle.
Yes.
Councilman Revard.
Yes.
Chairman Waller.
Yes.
Councilwoman Foreman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Gray.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Ma'am, would you please shut the recording off and stay with us through
Recording
executive?
stopped. The recording has stopped.
Thank you very much, Council.
Hold on.
I was asked.
Hold on.
Special meeting.
Chairman, hold on.